views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
There's something happening here, but what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for giving us another chance this week. Last week, we kind of announced that we thought we were going to name the show Both Sides Now, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, I kind of made a decision that I think I like WTF America better. What do you think?
Okay. I like that too.
Okay. I got a lot of positive feedback about that.
Less Judy Collins.
Yeah. So.
Hey, you nailed it.
No, that's right. That's where that came from. You know. So anyway, we think going forward until we change our minds about something else, we're going to call this WTF America. And today we have Jared Lord as our guest.
Former jaywalker.
Convicted jaywalker.
Convicted
jaywalker. And former gubernatorial candidate for the last election, correct? Mm-hmm. Exactly. For Nevada, right?
Yes.
Okay. And since this is Bianca's guest, she's the one who brought him in. I'm going to turn
Blame me entirely.
I'm going to turn this over to her. And what the hell you want to talk about?
Do you have any more information that you need to give out?
I'm your pawn right now.
Okay, then I have a question.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
All right. So if I understand this correctly, you were the Libertarian candidate.
That's correct.
For governor.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of confusion about what the hell is a Libertarian. Why don't you start off with what is your concept of a Libertarian or the Libertarian Party?
Well, we believe that no one has the right to initiate aggression against another person, government included.
Okay.
So we think that as long as you're being peaceful, you're not hurting anyone, do what you want.
Okay.
That's fine. So we don't think that anything with like gay marriage, we've been pro-gay marriage since the 70s. We've been pro-sex work since this year, but
right.
we've been in favor of it this whole time. We're not pro-drug use, but we are pro not going to jail for being a drug user. If you're not like driving around and killing people, why is that an issue? We're also pro the state should be spending as little as possible, as efficiently as possible, and taking its least amount of money as possible from you.
Okay.
So that's basically libertarianism in a nutshell.
Okay. I am not a libertarian.
Okay, neither am I, but that's okay.
But
I am.
You're still a good person.
Yeah, we'll let that slide. Don't worry.
But I have tabled for the Libertarian Party.
Right.
For a lot of years, in the hopes that they would get enough votes that they would have to be given the same amount of money from the government for elections.
That was government money?
Oh, did you not know this?
I did not get any.
Well, no, you have, like, the Libertarian Party has to get a certain percentage of votes where they would be eligible for government money for campaigning.
Okay,
I've never
when you
considered
say
that
a
as
certain
a
number,
possibility.
a certain number of votes, where? I mean, in what election do they have to get a certain number of votes?
Okay, so if Gary Johnson had gotten a larger percentage of votes, there was a specific percentage of votes that he would have needed to get, so that
in the last election.
Right.
Okay. As a candidate for the party.
The last presidential election.
Okay.
Had Gary Johnson gotten a certain percentage of votes, then in the next presidential election.
Okay, and that was my question, yeah.
The Libertarian Party would have gotten funding from the government just as Democrats and Republicans
federal
do.
then.
Yes.
So that wouldn't apply to me anyway.
Well, no, that's my question is, had Gary Johnson actually managed to get the percentage of votes that he did, which is why I tabled for the Libertarian Party.
Right.
I don't think that it should be just Republicans and Democrats who should be receiving this funding. So here's my question. Had Gary Johnson gotten that percentage of voters, being a libertarian, would you accept funding from the government?
Obviously, I would
For
accept it
your-
because it's free money. But at the same time, I'm
But
not.
would you-
I'm not
would you
happy
feel
with
a
the
little-
idea that of the government just giving money to candidates? They shouldn't.
But okay,
but
so
so just as a libertarian, would you accept it?
Yeah. Ayn Rand made a really great point at one point when she said,
No, she didn't.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
But keep going.
She said
once in a while,
she did make some great points. And one of the things that she said when someone talked about Medicare and
Medicaid.
Medicaid and what's the word I'm looking for? Social Security. She's like,
Okay.
she's like, I'm against it, but you're paying into it, so if you don't take it, you're an idiot. And I think she was dead right
well,
on that.
okay, so
One time.
yeah.
Not one time. Come on.
No, I know.
But
I'm
that
kind of
goes
being
back
a
to
brat,
that
but-
goes back to everybody's throwing the word socialism around and well, that's socialism. This is socialism. That's socialism. So is insurance, whether it's health insurance or automobile insurance, because what you're doing is we as citizens here are putting our money into a pot. And the reason that we're putting our money into the pot is so that of the three of us, if we're each putting in $10 a week, and you have an accident or you need health care, you're going to take the money from that pot, right? That's what insurance
Right,
is.
right.
So insurance is socialism.
It's capitalized socialism.
It is democratic socialism, and that's the twist there.
But it's also voluntary.
Yes, it is.
So that's
No, it's not.
well.
Do you drive a vehicle?
Depending on the
Oh, this is such a good
Depending-
subject.
No, it is.
depending on the kind of
You
insurance
drive
you're
if
talking
you
about.
drive a
Well,
vehicle.
Specifically.
You are required by state, by law, to
I
have
have
insurance.
a lot
Yes.
on this.
Okay, so specifically regarding Jared, this is the most perfect.
Great segue.
Yep. All right, here you go.
good.
I'll let
So
you
what
take
happened
it.
with
All
me
right.
was my car was stolen in
Okay.
March. And at one point I was like, I'm never going to get it back. It's a 97 Geo Net Metro. If there's a homeless person living in it, I probably don't want it back anyway.
Right.
And I just gave up. And then I canceled my insurance. And then they found it. So
Yeah,
when I
this
went,
was like a week
but they
ago
stole
that
one
they
of the plates.
finally-
They stole the front plate. So I went to the DMV to get my front plate replaced, to get my plates replaced. And they were like, oh, you had a registered vehicle that was not insured for a few weeks. So it's a $500 fine. It's your first offense, so
Right.
you're lucky.
Right.
My car was stolen,
Right.
and I didn't
And
return the plates
Did you
from
tell
a
them
stolen.
that?
Yes.
Okay.
And it doesn't
Did
matter.
you provide them with a police report?
I didn't know I had to bring it.
But he
No.
but
I'm asking these questions because
Right.
this is
Right.
something.
And
he
but-
didn't
why
bring
should
the
that even
police
matter?
report.
Right.
I
But
give
he
them-
did give them the number of the police report.
Right. And it didn't matter. You didn't return the plates on the stolen car, and your insurance lapsed for those weeks when the car was stolen. Therefore, you owe us $500.
Right.
So I'm
But
going to call bullshit.
that has nothing to do with insurance. That has to do with
Well, it has
idiots.
it has a lot to do with the state's need to force you to have insurance.
Right.
So
It's not exactly the same issue.
Right.
But
No. But
he-
I understand what you're saying. The problem is not with you're required to have insurance. The problem is with how that is enforced.
Yeah,
And it's
the
just like
enforcement is
everything
the
else.
issue.
Okay.
And that's what he's going after
We've all
now.
been paying Social Security since we started working.
And it's not going to be there when I need it.
But the reason that it's not going to be there is because Congress keeps borrowing from it and taking money out of it.
I don't know if they actually are doing that because I don't think it's legal for them to do
Not
that.
anymore. But they took almost $3 trillion over the last 40 years out of the Social Security fund.
And it's also a Ponzi scheme when you get right down to it.
It's also what?
A Ponzi scheme.
Of course it is.
So the money's not going to be there anyway. At some point, it's going to run out of money.
Well, that's a population problem.
Mm-hmm.
And if people stop paying into Social Security, right? No more Social Security. That's it. We're done. Get your own savings account.
You know, if
So if you're making $8.15 an hour, how much are you going to be able to save every month?
So you
to
think,
be honest,
wait,
though, if I the money that comes out of my paycheck to go to Social Security, if I was just putting it into a fund, I would have a lot more money when I retire than I would from Social
Yeah.
Security.
But you think we're also overpopulated?
No, what I'm saying is that because of the baby boomers,
Oh, okay.
you know, the large amount of people who are turning 62, 66, whatever the age limit is now, you know, compared to the people who are currently paying into the
Yeah.
Social Security fund. So, yeah, we're probably overpopulated anyway, but
I don't think we're overpopulated, but like,
we're overpopulated with stupid people. How's that?
yes,
That's a problem
that's
everywhere
completely
around
true.
the world.
And also,
Yeah,
I
that
guess
is true.
you should have had more children because now I'm screwed.
Yeah, exactly.
How are you going to run
So
the farm
now,
without more
now,
kids?
honestly, I'm kind of mad.
What's
at
that?
How are you going to run the farm without more kids?
That's correct.
I'm
Well,
kind of mad
you're
at you
not,
right now.
and that's why the big agribusinesses are taking over farms.
We don't have the farms anymore like
Right.
we used to.
Yeah.
I mean, I come from my family has a farm.
My grandfather was a farmer.
My
You know,
parents,
my
are
parents,
farmers.
all my aunts and uncles grew up on a farm, you know, so yeah.
So why didn't you have more kids and put them in STEM jobs?
Yeah. Why aren't those kids?
Because I couldn't afford them.
They could be
But
totally
you could
Why
picking
did you
afford-
out.
have more kids?
Because I had a hysterectomy. Otherwise, I would have had all the kids and they would all support you.
There you go.
Sorry,
Well, if
sorry,
you-
I wasn't
no,
able
if
to
you,
do
if
that.
you believe that, you're crazy because there's an old Jewish saying that two parents can take care of 10 kids, but 10 kids can't take care of two parents.
Well, you know a Jewish saying that I don't know that. So congratulations.
Shalom.
Well done.
Shalom Shabbat.
So I was reading through this, and this is for those of you who can't see this. Ha ha ha! I can. This was actually an interview that you did with NPR back on May 24th of 2018.
All right. That was almost a year ago
Yeah, I know.
when I didn't know what I was doing.
And so, do you admit that this was you?
The jury is out on that.
I'm playing my Mantis card now.
Yes.
I looked you up, of course, because I didn't know anything about you, and I wanted to be prepared to
And you know
ask
me,
intelligent.
so it was
And I
dangerous.
know you were.
Yeah, and I ask intelligent questions. So, and the first one that popped out at me, and I tried to get some stats on it, was it talks about Clark County School District, and you're saying it's too big, and the administrative costs are huge, and one of your suggestion is that you break it down into smaller, manageable parts.
Right.
The problem that I have with that, I'm not saying you're wrong, but the problem that I have with it, if your administrative costs are too high under one umbrella entity or whatever, and you break that down into smaller entities, each one
You
of
still
those
have the
smaller
administration.
entities is going to add to the administrative costs and not subtract from it.
Right.
And that's what jumped out at me.
One of the
So-
other things that I was talking, I don't know if I had it in that particular interview, but one of the other things I was talking about was like getting rid of most of the administration.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So-
and it's
Those two
not
things
that
go very
it's
nicely
not
together.
that the current administration or school district is too large. Although I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that's not really the issue. The issue is that we have too many people that ain't doing shit, that are getting money, that don't deserve it.
Right.
And the people that do deserve the money, you know, goes
Are
to
getting the shaft.
the teachers and the janitors
And the students.
the students and the school bus drivers and all of that.
Right.
And that has been one of my pet peeves in that okay, our school system is kind of broken. We need to fix it.
Not even kinda. It's broken.
Okay.
No, I
but-
get
but-
an email. I get an email regularly from my daughter's principal that will tell me that the buses are running 20 to 45 minutes late.
Yeah.
And these kids aren't even like excused.
Right.
I've had to bring my daughter late, I think twice.
So
And
in Clark County, was it like 5,000 administrators that make over six figures a year?
Yeah.
And most of them have like what their job is to police one person.
Yeah.
So why do we have these people? Why? And when the marijuana money thing came up, I went to the school board meetings, and what happened was they were saying, "Oh,
We're gonna get all this money from
and they took that money and they just gave all the administrators raises, and then they said, "Oh, we didn't get it." But they really did get it because
Right.
they mentioned it at the meeting.
Right.
They're like, "Oh yeah, we got it, but we gave these people raises."
Right.
And the teachers were pissed, and they should be pissed. They absolutely should be pissed. And that was one of the things that when I was campaigning, when I was talking to a group of teachers, I was like, fuck the administration. And they were like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I got a lot of votes from the teachers because I was the only person that was saying, fuck the administration, fuck this, fuck how they're running everything. Just fuck
Yeah.
everyone.
No, and I get it. And but what that goes back to is that instead of a lot of people focusing on, okay, let's fix education. Let's fix our educational system here.
Mm-hmm.
No, let's start a private school. I'm going to send my kid to private school so they'll get a better education.
Mm-hmm.
That is really defeating the whole concept of our nation. I mean, wouldn't you want a smart, intelligent, informed, educated population?
Exactly.
Especially as you get older.
But does the public school system
I-
provide that?
Pardon me?
Does the public school system actually provide that?
If it doesn't, why don't we make it provided? Because there are plenty
That's
of
one
countries.
thing.
and
There are plenty of countries all over the world that their private, their public education system beats the hell out of ours.
Right.
But-
And why can't we take a look at that and say, wow, that's a system that works. We should try that.
But if we're
because
paying-
too many people are making fucking money off of it.
well, I know that you guys are both going to physically attack me right now.
No.
This is gonna. Oh no, this is gonna be
like-
on
like-
camera. This is.
Can we
Wait
do
till the
like can
camera-
we do like professional wrestling?
Yeah,
like,
wait.
dives?
Oh yeah, this is gonna be like
Let me get a chair.
SmackDown right now. Like, stay tuned. This is gonna be really fucked up. But I have.
Do you smell what the rock is
I've-
cooking?
I've gone up to Carson with the Koch brothers and lobbied for ESAs. Sit on your hands. You both need to sit on your hands so I feel safe.
No, and that's the whole point of us
No,
being here.
no,
You can
Our
hands are on the
say what you
table.
want.
Okay, keep your hands where I can see them.
So you can see our hands.
Okay, I have gone up and lobbied at the legislature for ESAs with the Koch brothers.
What is
Try,
an E-
try not
wait,
to
wait, wait.
try
What
not
is-
to twitch.
What is an ESA?
Okay, so
Our
I'm
viewers may
so
not know.
scared. No, so ESAs would be that parents would have a certain allotment of money to where they could send their children to whatever private school they choose. That includes religious schools, which I sent my daughter to a religious school.
My hands are.
It was it was quite expensive, and do I think that the government should have paid for me to send my daughter to a religious school? Probably not. But
But the money
nothing
you're
but
paying.
but so far nothing has worked. And so
And
I
define that. When you say nothing has worked, are you talking about the system, or are you talking about with your daughter, or
Well-
with
Your
with
daughter's
what you're-
brilliant. I like her.
No, no, no.
She's utterly nice girl.
I mean as far as like the system.
Right.
Nothing's worked. So
But
I
what,
would
what do
be
you? I'm sorry, but what do you mean by that? Nothing has worked. You
we
mean
don't
we have
have
a broken system? We have a broken this. We have a broken that. Is that what you're kind of?
Yes,
saying?
I'm
Okay.
saying like that we don't have a great education system here.
Right.
And like I said before, we have schools
We
that
don't have
are
a good one. Not even great. We don't even have a good
Okay,
one.
but we
no,
did
it's
it one
it's
time.
always it's interesting that we have schools that are ranked
51st in the nation.
well on
Bottom of the barrel.
You can look up schools here, and they get rated 1 to 10. We have 9s and we have 10s, and we have 1s and we have 2s.
Right.
And we don't really have anything in between. And if you live in certain areas, you have to go to the 1s and 2s.
Right.
And nobody's managed to make any headway on any of this.
Well, because
So I'm interested. I'm just saying I'm
How is the school
interested.
system funded? Through our property taxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the people in Summerlin are paying a lot more in taxes than some areas of North Las Vegas.
So they obviously have better.
So they're going to
Nobody-
get they're going to get more money. They're going to get better schools. And one of the things that
And
we
that
tried in the
sucks
60s,
dick.
50s and 60s or early
And-
60s was segregation and busing kids to
Yeah,
different
that was
schools.
I remember that when I was a kid. It was the
Right.
70s. In the 70s in Boston, that was a big issue.
Yeah, and that's not the answer. The answer is to make all of the schools equal, and for us as citizens and people care about this shit. And whether I mean, my kids are way out of school. I mean, that was a long time ago. But I
They're
should
collecting
still
Social
be. I
Security.
should still be just as adamant about a good educational system for the young people coming up,
Right.
because those are going to be the doctors and lawyers and nurses that take care of me in the old folks' home. But you know what I'm saying?
I'm
Or-
probably
and going back
I'm
to-
probably wrong, because usually I am.
Don't start a comment that way.
But no, I would be interested to see if we got ERAs, and maybe maybe religious schools should be not part of this.
Okay, so
but
here's
let's
the
just
thing.
say
I would
let's just
be okay
say
with religious schools being part of that if churches paid taxes.
okay, yeah.
Okay?
I'm okay with
sure.
no one paying taxes.
I mean,
But
I don't know
that is
exactly
not,
how I
that
feel.
is not
I know it's not
an
a reasonable.
intelligent stand to take.
Right, I know it's not
Because
reasonable.
who's going to pay for the police? Who's going to pay for the military? Who's going to fix the roads?
Right.
Who's going to, you know,
Right, but
all of this
the,
stuff.
the least amount of taxes being charged is the best thing.
And we all agree to that.
Right.
However, that's not what we're focused on.
No, you're right.
I mean, if you look at what's going on in Washington, D.C. today, I mean, we've got the biggest bunch of idiots I've ever seen in my entire life. And they don't give one rat's ass about us.
and they could actually have the common courtesy of being funny like the Marx Brothers.
Yes,
They could do that for
they
us.
could do that, but
They choose not to.
They're not. They're sad. So
But going back
Anyway,
to what
so that
you
comes
said,
back to us. That's
going
our
back
fault.
to what you said, no matter
Well,
what school
here's my
I wanna
here's
finish
the
my point before I
here's
forget it.
why
She
I
started
went.
first.
Here's why I went is because nothing's been working, and maybe we should try something else. And this would force public schools to become competitive. If I don't have an if
How
I
does
don't,
how
if
does a
I
public
had
school become competitive?
if I had enough money to send my child to private school, then public schools would have to try. If everybody has this
But
option,
you're taking
I could
money
be
away
totally
from them.
wrong. But
Yes and
right,
no. There's
they would be
the money-
forced to.
the money that you pay
Ha-
that goes towards the educational system. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to use that for whichever school system you choose for your kid.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
So
Why-
then maybe we're losing
why
some
would
schools.
why would a private
and if not,
why would a private school be better than a public school? What makes a private school better than a public school?
well, it shouldn't.
No, I'm
But-
saying that's an honest question.
Yeah, that wasn't the question, wasn't it? If it
what
should or
what
shouldn't.
makes a private school better than a public school?
They have the money to hire the right teachers. Yeah.
And they have different teacher standards too.
But that wouldn't change. But what would change is you weren't able to send your kid there before, and now you are.
But why do you even have to do that? That's my point.
Well, that's the
Oh,
problem
I mean,
too.
we could,
So we're not addressing the problem. We're trying to find a different route to go instead of fixing the problem.
Well, it's not a matter of not addressing the problem. What's happening is that the parents are going, this school system doesn't work, so we want to send our kids here because that school system works. The problem
and everybody
isn't,
has the right to have a good
the
education.
problem isn't where you send your kids.
Wait,
the
wait,
problem
wait.
is
Say
why.
that again.
Everybody should have the right to get their children a good education. Yes, I'm a social justice Republican.
But
That's
that's
what I'm going to call myself now.
but it's not even a right. It is an imperative. It is an imperative that we educate our young people to the highest extent that we can.
And that's
I
our
mean,
job
if
as
you
parents.
look at this country in the last 20 years, what the fuck have we done? We haven't done shit. We used to
40
be
years,
leaders
50
in,
years,
we used to be
60
leaders
years.
in medicine, in research, in technology, and all of this stuff. In the last 20 years, we've given that all away. We just stopped. We're not, you know, if you want to make America great again, then get off your goddamn asses and do something about it, and instead of sending all this shit back and forth on Facebook.
This is the fall of Rome. We're living in the fall of Rome.
Listen, you know how many times I thought that? and going back to when I was a
So
kid,
we should all
I
learn to play the
attended
fiddle.
school here when I was in the 5th and 6th grade, when I was a kid. And I loved it. I went to 5th Street School, which is now Las Vegas Boulevard, but used to be 5th Street. Unfortunately, my parents moved to California. I didn't have a job, so I had to go with them. So I get to California, was in the 6th grade. I sat on my butt for 2 years in school and I didn't have to do anything because we had already covered it. I had already learned all of the shit that they were. So our school system at that time was 2 years ahead of California. And it was a great school system that we had here. And there's no reason that we can't be doing that again.
Absolutely none.
And it's just greed, and everybody, you know, hooray for me and to hell with you, and you know, that's it.
That's the biggest problem. Everything, any political issue that you look at, is all boils down to hooray for me and fuck you.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. That's one of the things the Libertarian Party is actually trying to fight. We don't really have the greatest message. We don't really explain it correctly.
Well, and that's so maybe if you had had a little better education system, you'd be able to communicate better.
I am very well educated.
No, I'm not.
This is one of the things I stand up against my party for,
Right.
though, because I don't think we're explaining our message correctly, and I would much prefer, instead of being like, I got mine and you should get yours and screw you. I don't like that message. That's not a real libertarian message.
No, it's not.
But the real message that we have is like, I can get mine and you can too, and we should be able to fight to make sure everybody gets the same thing I can, and that's what we should be standing for.
we get a lot more through cooperation rather than confrontation.
Right, and that's
And if we could, I mean, the best way to get what you want is to help somebody else get what they want.
right.
And that's a
No
win-win.
argument there. No argument there at all.
It's like, I just can't even go down that road anymore. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Cooperation and voluntary,
and support each other.
yeah, voluntary support of each other
Right.
is the key to make us better.
Okay, so a couple days ago, I'm going out my front door, and I just happened to look over my neighbor's house, and he's got this huge dog. And every time he opens the front door, this dog wants to get out. And you know, he doesn't run away or anything. He just likes to jump around in the front. And so, knocked the poor guy over trying to get out the front door. Now, most people that I've come in contact with would go over and help him get up, which I did. But there are too many people that would say, "Oh, fuck you." You know? No, I'm serious.
That's right, you're right,
And
'cause
it's like, oh, it's not my problem. You
most
know?
of us
You fell
would-
down, get up yourself.
Most of us would go and hope. I like to believe that most of us would,
and I would too. I would like to believe that
be
we
like,
would
"Oh,
do that.
dude, come on."
Yeah, and I don't like the guy.
Oh, screw him then.
Yeah, no, but that's my point. That's my point. I mean, it's not that I don't like him. It's just that I'm indifferent, I guess. It's like, you know, And
Screw that guy.
Yeah, and anyway. So,
But
yeah.
even
And
the people that I
unfortunately,
would say,
that's. I think that's a lot more people than I'd like to think.
Yeah,
I
I know, that's the sad part. 47%.
I think most people have
Yeah.
a bigger.
Actually, now I think it's 36%.
I think,
See,
I
you have a
think most-
specific rate of people who are not helpful.
Well, I'm just looking at approval ratings.
Right, and I
That's-
think most people have a bigger screw that guy ratio than they should.
Yeah,
That's obvious. That's
yeah, because if that guy's house burns down, yours is going to burn too, probably. So.
or
anyway.
could, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, and if we didn't have taxes, you'd have to pay to have the fire department come out and put your house out.
So my question with that is,
Sure.
would it be cheaper to just pay for it than to pay for it in taxes?
Okay,
Which is more efficient? Which is
then let's go down that road with medical insurance and health insurance. So, hey, yeah, you're 20, 30 years old. You're pretty healthy. You're not going to get sick or nothing.
I'm
You
much
don't need
older than that.
insurance. No, I'm using that as an example. So all of a sudden you're hit by a car, and you're making $30,000 a year, and 2-day stay in the hospital is $29,000. So how are you going to pay for that?
So if the insurance companies weren't required to
No,
pay,
I'm
wait,
saying,
hold on a
no,
second. Hold on a
if we
second.
use that, you don't have to have insurance. You just
you're
pay for
screwed.
it when you need it.
You're screwed.
Right.
But if the insurance was not required to cover everything, like imagine if your car insurance covered gas and tires and oil, how much would your car insurance cost? Would it be cheaper for you to just pay for that out of pocket? So the little stuff, if you pay the little stuff out of pocket,
Define little stuff when we're talking about insurance.
I have a cold, I'm going to
automobile
go to the doctor's. If I can pay $20, if I can pay $20 and just do that, I'm good. Instead of having
But why do you have to pay anything?
Because it's little stuff.
No. Here's
like-
my point, okay? When you look at all of the money that we spend our taxes on, all the things that we spend our taxes on, I would much rather take a percentage of that and spend it on health care than I would killing people. The military for all the money that they spend on coffee cups and hammers and lobster tails and all that shit.
Lesser of the evils.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
And
So
but
are
what
you
I'm saying
that
is that
we
if we
should-
took that money, and it's been proven that this Medicare for all over a 10-year period will actually save a couple $1 trillion.
Will it though?
Yes, it will, as opposed to what we're paying now for health care.
And is that a good though?
I mean,
Is
if-
that,
Yes, that's a good.
no,
if
I'm
the
saying
government were
is that
paying-
good still good for the consumer?
Yes, it's good for the consumer. Why
If
is it not good for the consumer?
Because they can pay even less. Because they can pay even less.
What do you mean they get paid even less?
They can pay even less than
They don't pay anything.
if the government
they do because your
No.
taxes pay for it.
I
You
have.
can lower the taxes and make
Listen,
it.
I have relatives in the UK. All right, so my nephew makes less money than I did at a certain point when I was working. Okay.
working.
No, I'm saying I'm retired now, so I mean,
He was working.
I'm on the dole now. But I'm saying that I made a little bit more every year than he did. But the amount of money that he was able to put in his pocket every month was significantly more than me.
But is that just
I mean,
because of health
if
care or
I'm
something
being-
else?
no,
Are
if
there
I'm
other
being
factors?
No, but I'm
totally
saying
honest,
because I'm saying that he ended up paying about of his tax dollars about $13 a month for his health insurance.
That's about what I pay.
Okay, so
$13 a month.
if the
You pay
government-
$13
No,
a
I
month
pay
for
like
your
about
health
40.
insurance.
About 40 for my
Okay.
health
if the
insurance.
government decided to still pay,
But there's no
like if the government
co-pays.
wanted to pay
Not from what the plan I got.
doctors well, we could still get good care if we decided to spend a little bit less money on
And there was
some
what
brands of other shit.
recently 60
But I also
pharmacists
I don't
and
understand.
lobbyists or pharmacists and drug companies were just busted for the largest opioid fraud, writing phony prescriptions and
Right.
shit like that.
And that's a problem.
Yeah,
That's an absolute problem.
it's for the money.
Wait,
Right.
I'm
I used
so
to work
confused.
as
So
a
many
substance
things
abuse
are
counselor
happening.
back in a prison back in Massachusetts. The sheriff that was like offering the prisoners to go build the wall, that guy was my old boss.
Yeah.
And fight fires and so on. But
no. He's a Republican.
no,
cunt.
not necessarily
There's
him.
nothing good
But
about that
okay,
man.
I have so many questions.
So, but
I mean, you and I both think that drugs should be legal.
right.
So that's a
And
different
here's
story.
my experience.
But
Can I finish?
no, because you confused the shit out of me.
I can fix that if you let me speak.
Okay, you go.
So what I noticed was, so the substance abuse programs in the prisons are all about 12-step. 12-step doesn't work.
Yeah, I know.
It's got about a 3% success
Yeah.
rate. So, and me trying to push something different got me fired.
Yeah.
I forgot where I was going.
Can I ask you a
Because
question?
I got too much invested.
Right,
In-
right.
in
But,
that.
well, that's where I was going. So what happens is that you have this revolving door.
Yeah.
And the state makes a ton of money off these people that are coming in on nonviolent offenses because the 12-step program didn't work. Therefore, right back again.
Yep.
And I worked there twice. I worked there, and then I had a couple years off, then I worked there again. Same people.
Okay, so if you're a prisoner, right, in a jail or prison or whatever, and you can buy stuff in the commissary, you know, if you get a job or whatever.
Way more expensive than it should be.
That's my point. So you go down to the local supermarket, Smith's or Albertsons or Walmart or wherever the hell you go, and you pay 25 cents for a packet of Top Ramen.
And it's $5 in the jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it does not behoove that system to have less prisoners.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
The more people we can incarcerate,
But instead of putting nonviolent offenders in the jail, why don't we put the politicians there? Because they're more guilty than anyone.
and
Okay,
here's
so
why.
here's-
Here's why. Who's going to vote to put the politicians in jail?
Everyone but the politicians, probably.
My point is, how are we even going to get to vote on that?
Probably
we have
won't.
to ask our politicians to come up with
Give us permissions. Yes.
Right. So, you know, and I it's just
Okay,
I
We
mean,
can still fight for that.
It's your turn.
I definitely
sorry.
no. I
Shut up, it's her turn.
I didn't even understand what you were trying to say about medical. Like, were you trying to say that we should pay when we've got a cold and not pay when we've got
Right.
cancer?
The insurance company.
Nobody's gonna. If
All right.
that were the case,
So-
nobody's going to the doctor when they've got a cold.
So we
and
can
my
spread that
cancer
around.
So
is
that can
just,
speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So we
that-
can spread it around.
Right. So instead of
More
going,
people
oh
get
my God, I
colds.
got a
Oh,
cold.
so if we
And
if
more
we
people
all
buy
have,
cold medicines and
if we both have to pay for all of our stuff, you're saying people just won't go to the doctor and we'll have
unless it's a very serious issue, and then the money's
and then
there.
by the time it's that serious of an issue, it's too late.
Yes and no.
In-
Depends.
in a
Depends
lot
on
of
the
cases.
issue. Depends on
that
the
would
symptoms.
definitely be the case a lot of times.
Right.
I have
So
gone.
I got a little pain in my side right here, you know. So,
So go
it's
to the
no big
doctors.
deal. No, because I'm gonna have to pay, and I don't want to pay, and you know. Okay, so in a couple
Right,
months
like
from now,
I've
I
got.
can't pay my
Like
What-
I
what
have
I'm- what I'm
chest
saying is that it's-
pain,
it's much
and
cheaper
I think it's probably
if-
going to be okay.
All right, let
on.
me give you a great analogy. Okay, I've worked around a lot of heavy equipment, you know, forklifts and cranes and trucks and shit like that. So one of the most important things, and this comes with just owning a vehicle well, is called preventative maintenance. You change the oil, you change the spark plugs,
Right.
you know, and it's the same. We don't do that with our bodies.
Does your car insurance cover that though?
It doesn't have to.
How expensive would your car insurance be if it did?
A lot. But
So
what
that's
does
what I'm
that
saying
have
for
to do
health-
with healthcare?
Because if preventative maintenance would be cheap if it wasn't covered, it would be.
No bullshit.
It would be.
What I'm saying is that the Medicare for all, the single payer, I have that already.
Mm-hmm.
I already have that, and it's the best fucking insurance I have ever had in my entire life. I
Yep,
get the
me
best
too.
care. I get all of my
Thanks for
medical
your tax
coverage
money.
from the VA. I get all of my medical coverage from the VA, and here in Southern Nevada, we got the best.
Yeah, we
around.
have a good-
We
we
got the
have
best
the
people, and
better VA.
that is exactly what the rest of the country needs.
Can we afford it?
That's my point. It's cheaper than what we're paying now.
Is it though?
Yes.
Oh yeah, we could definitely.
Dude, I don't pay for any of my drugs, any of my
No,
treatment.
I'm saying
I've had a
cheaper,
number of-
cheaper for the
I don't
taxpayers.
pay.
Yes, it is. Wait a minute. If we're, I'm just going to throw numbers out here, and they're not real, but I'm just making them up to
I want-
prove a
the
point.
real numbers would be better.
Okay. the percentage of what I'm going to tell you is the same, regardless of what the number is.
All right.
Okay, so we are currently spending $10 million or $10 trillion over a 10-year period, or let's just say $1 trillion a year for healthcare. When I say we, I'm talking about our taxes, everything that's in there. If we go to a Medicare for all, a single payer like I have, we'll be paying about 7 instead of 10. We're paying less than we are currently paying.
I've seen the statistics that actually say the opposite. We're actually going to pay a lot more by doing that.
But we're not.
How? That doesn't make sense because when we pay that kind of money, it's actually going to be year over year, and it's actually going to increase. So basically, we're going to triple our budget, triple our what's the word I'm looking for?
Spending?
Deficit?
Deficit. That's the word I wanted. Deficit. We triple our deficit over 20 years.
Okay, so why don't we just go back to, you want to make America great again? Let's go back to the tax rate that we had in the late 50s, early 60s.
That no one paid? Ever?
Bullshit. No.
No.
Wait.
No one paid that tax rate.
The corporate tax rate that we had at that time
90%.
was almost 90%.
Right, and no one
That's
actually
why,
paid that.
Wait, bullshit. That's why we
No
have
one
the
actually
roads
paid
that
that.
we have. That's why we have the highway systems.
Name one person that actually paid that tax rate.
I'm not talking about
Name
persons. I
one
said
person
corporate.
that actually paid that tax
I
rate.
said corporate.
Name one corporation that actually paid that tax rate. Name one.
GE.
Nope.
Okay. Where did you get your information?
Looking up tax rates.
Okay. So
no one actually paid because the loopholes that we have now existed then. So no one actually paid 90% ever.
But they paid a hell of a lot more than they're paying now.
No, not really.
Okay. So we keep lowering the tax rate, right? This is what you're saying. We keep lowering the tax rate, and people pay less and less and less, right?
Mm-hmm.
Corporate taxes. Most of them don't pay anything.
And that's good
But
for the
they're
consumer.
getting refunds. They're making billions in profits, and they're getting refunds.
And,
Where does that money come from?
the consumer. And the lower
Okay,
tax
so
rate
let's
is good for the consumer.
let's take that another step, okay? So we're now in the middle of this big tariff beef with China. So our president says, "Don't
Are
worry
you
about
okay?
it.
No, I
Don't
was
worry
laughing.
about it. We are going to pay the farmers what they're going to lose by not being able to deal with China."
Instead of
who's
just not
paying
having
that?
that the consumers are paying that.
No shit. And who
Taxes
pays the
and-
tariff?
The consumers pay
That's
that.
right.
So you're proving my point.
No, what I'm saying is that he's proving your point.
No, he's doing the
We're
exact
paying
opposite
it
of my
all.
point.
We're paying it all. So what would you rather spend your money on? You got $10, right? This is your tax bill for
I'll
the
blow
year.
that on beer. Easy.
You got $10, right? And would you rather spend that on healthcare, or would you rather give farmers a subsidy because we screwed up with this deal with China?
I'll probably put it in my gas tank because
No, I'm saying your gas tank's already taken care of. Leave that out. I'm saying these are the things that you have to choose from. You can either pay health care or you can give it to these farmers.
I can just keep the $10 for later.
No, this is money that you have to pay.
I don't have to pay.
Yes, you do.
I shouldn't have to.
Well, you do.
I can just keep the $10. I should be able to just keep the $10.
And,
I mean, you can
wait.
just run
Okay,
around.
so you just keep the $10 and get your neighbor to help you put out the fire on your house, or
just put that
or
on
use
myself.
use your own guns, because nobody's going to take your guns away, to shoot somebody if you don't like what they're doing or has assaulted you, or is that what you're saying?
I mean,
I don't
you
have
can
guns.
you can not
You have
con-
to if you want to live in this kind of a society, you're going to have to pay taxes.
you
Right,
can
and
choose
I'm
not
not
to
disagreeing with
contribute
Okay,
to anything.
so what I'm saying
I'm
is
saying-
that $10 is the taxes that you're paying.
Then I
you
wanted to
can
be used efficiently.
not
That's
pay your
correct.
taxes, and you can run around in circles screaming taxation is
Right,
theft
which I'm not one
all
of those
day
people.
long.
not
But
one of
if
those
you
people.
want to contribute, what would you want to contribute to?
Wouldn't you?
That's a good question.
Wait.
Thank
Wouldn't you
you.
rather have everyone have health care as opposed to?
I would rather everyone have health care as opposed to wars, but I would much rather
So where
have
do you
everyone
want-
be able to afford health care
where
without
do
the government
you want
providing
your
it
money
than
to
anything
go?
else.
But that's not going to happen.
If
and
you're
you know
going
it.
It could.
to pay
It could if we do
your
this correctly.
$14
Okay, so
of
wait.
taxes,
So
where
tell
do
me,
you
how do
want
we
your
do that? How do we do
$14
that
to
correctly?
Two people talking at the same time.
How do we do that
I was
correctly?
still
you said
talking.
You said we could do it if we do it correctly. How do we
I
do
want
it
to know
correctly?
where
All right,
he
let's
wants
go
his
back to the
money
car
to
insurance
go.
model. Let's go back to the car insurance
Okay.
model. In car insurance, is car insurance covering your gas, covering your tires? None of that.
That has nothing to do with
No,
it.
no, 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 it
Car,
does have-
car
it has
insurance
everything.
is in case you have an accident and kill somebody or hit
So
somebody or
why
damage
isn't
your
health
car.
insurance done that way? Because it would be much cheaper to do it that way, and then everything under
Do
that.
it which way? Lay it out for me.
Unless there's
Explain this to me.
if there's a major issue that's covered, if there's a less major issue like you have a cold or whatever,
Wait. If you have automobile insurance
Mm-hmm.
and you get in a fender bender, right?
it's covered.
That's correct. So what is the difference between a
It's
cold or
insurance.
flu and a fender bender?
Insurance is insurance, no matter which. If you're talking health insurance or car insurance,
That's correct.
It's the same thing.
But you
So-
But
could
it doesn't
be
cover
having,
your gas.
Let me finish.
If you run out of gas,
No.
it's not going to cover. Insurance doesn't cover your gas.
And if you have a cold, health insurance, if it doesn't cover a cold,
But how am
prices
I
of-
supposed to know if I've got a cold
I
or if I'm
finish?
just like my chest is hurting?
You have
maybe
pneumonia.
it was
Right.
Maybe I have pneumonia.
Right.
Maybe it's just gas. Maybe I'm also having a heart attack.
That's correct.
And
So have it checked
and
out.
at this
But-
at this point, I can't afford to just pop into the hospital and have them tell me that I'm having like that I ate something
Right.
shitty.
so if your car's making a
So
weird
I'm
noise
scared
and
to
you
go to the hospital at that point. But maybe
But
I'm
insurance doesn't
actually
cover
having
any
a
mechanical
fucking heart
failures
attack.
in your
Right.
automobile. It covers catastrophic events.
and it's cheap, and then everything
It
that's
ain't
not
cheap.
catastrophic. Well, for me, it's cheap because I have a really good driving record.
Okay.
But anything under catastrophic is affordable.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying.
So
If
maybe
anything under
I
catastrophic is
don't
affordable.
want to go to the hospital now because I think
so you don't.
maybe
you
I
want
just
people to pay for health care regardless.
No, I think insurance is a good thing. That's a business. It's a business.
but-
No,
model.
I think
Wait,
he's saying that catastrophic whatever would be
there's-
covered.
but-
I should be able to go, okay, I want to pay for this insurance that covers this. And I should have the choice to be able to say that little stuff.
You already have that choice.
Not really.
Yes, you do.
I have to pay for the
Bullshit.
little.
No,
I
no,
have
no,
to
you
pay
can-
for it
you can get-
regardless.
No. You can get a certain level of insurance.
Right, but
You
I
can
have
pay
to
for
pay-
more, or
I
you
have
can
to pay for
less.
what I don't
you
need.
You can get Aflac to pay for your disability.
But I have
Which
to
is an
pay. I
add-on.
have to pay for what I don't need, and that's why health insurance is so expensive. That's why healthcare is so
No,
expensive.
health
I'm
insurance
paying
is
for
so
what I don't
expensive
need.
because you're paying a couple of $100 for an aspirin. That's why
that's
health
also
insurance
true.
is expensive.
But also,
It's not
the reason why I'm
expensive-
paying a couple $100 for an aspirin is because they cover it. If they didn't cover the little stuff, it
No,
wouldn't be as
bullshit.
expensive. That's
Bullshit.
not bullshit. That's
Wait.
We agreed on car insurance, right?
Because it's covered. In other words, giving you an aspirin in the hospital is covered by your insurance.
They're going to jack the price up.
So it's not that you have the insurance. It's that somebody is trying to scam the system or cheat the system.
So how expensive would your car insurance be if they covered it that way?
Covered it which way? In
The
other
same
words,
way the same way they do with healthcare. If they did everything in car insurance the way that they do in healthcare, how expensive would your car insurance be, and how much would your out-of-pocket cost be?
I
We
can't
both
see
agree that insurance is insurance, right?
right.
If they ran car insurance the way that they run healthcare insurance, how
That
expensive?
still
would
doesn't. You can't compare that.
But we agreed that healthcare insurance is insurance, right?
Wait. Okay, so you know who Betty Grable was?
That's familiar. Who is that?
Okay, Betty Grable was a singer and a dancer back in the 30s, 40s, whatever.
yeah.
Okay, at one point in her career, Lloyd's of London had insured her legs for $1 million. Okay,
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
that's insurance.
Right.
Okay,
And that's she decided to have
so-
that insurance load. Yeah.
but that has nothing to do with automobile insurance.
Yes
it's
and
not
no.
the same.
Because we're talking about insurance. Insurance is a very specific industry.
No, insurance is socialism.
It's voluntary.
It's socialism.
Unless
Whether
the
it's
gov-
voluntary or not, it's still socialism.
To an extent, yes.
Because we are all contributing, we're all kicking in so that one of us, if something happens to us, whether it's our car, our life, or whatever, we're going to be okay.
Right.
It's going to be covered.
Right.
We don't have to worry about it.
So
We don't have to worry about it.
Right.
It's covered.
And I
We're
was
good.
saying,
It's all good.
And we agree that insurance is insurance, no matter what kind of insurance it is. It's voluntary to an extent, unless the government requires it. It's voluntary,
Okay.
and it's something that you pay into, and you get the benefits.
You
from.
you can buy automobile mechanical insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You can buy that.
They wouldn't cover my car. My car's old.
No. But yeah, they would. They'll cover it. They'll cover it.
I'm going to pay out through the nose.
I don't
That's
think
exactly
anybody's
right.
going to
That's
insure
exactly
that
right.
thing.
But what I'm saying is with the health insurance and what I'm talking about with a single payer, Medicare for all, only because that's what they're calling it. But if you spread the cost over a lot more people, the individual cost per person is ridiculously
Right.
low.
And if you put the cap where the minimal
There is no
stuff-
cap.
No, if you put where
There is no cap. Listen, there is no cap on.
is-
I can go to
right,
the hospital.
Right,
I can go to the
on,
doctor.
There's no cap on your insurance, but what I'm saying is that
But
the
wait,
cost
wait, wait.
to
Why
the
is that any
taxpayers-
different than that? Than it is not any different than what they're out there pushing right now.
Yes, it is. Yes,
the
it is.
VA model is. Listen, I can go in there for anything, man. I mean, I last time I was at the doctor, I said, "Hey, man, my skin's getting really dry." He goes, "Here, I'll prescribe this for you."
Right.
And it's some stuff to put on.
and that's fine.
Right.
That's fine. But are you going to go? I mean, how much would that cost the taxpayers if you were like
A couple of $100.
oh crap, I got a cold, and instead of just getting something over the counter, it's going to be the cost.
And what
the
if it's not just a cold?
We'll have it checked out.
But wait.
And then that's
Then
a major
pay
issue.
for it.
That's a major issue. So that would be
No.
covered.
But it's okay. So if you go there and they say no, it's just a cold, then you're going to pay for it.
right.
But if it is a major issue, you're going to pay for it.
If it is a major issue, then that would be covered by the insurance
Then why won't the minor be covered by the insurance? What's the difference?
because it's cheap. It's easy.
No shit. Don't you think it's more important to have the cheap shit covered than it is? If it's going to cost you 25 cents for an aspirin,
Do you think it's better than to have your car insurance cover your gas?
Okay.
That's what I'm
not-
talking.
This-
No, it
we
is
agree
not
that
the
insurance
same
is
thing.
insurance. It is the same
No.
thing.
This
Because
happens
wait,
to
healthcare
me-
insurance. This will shut that argument down. Healthcare insurance, my VA healthcare insurance
Mm-hmm.
does not cover my food, and that's what gasoline is for your car.
What about your oil change? That's what a cold is for your health.
No, it isn't.
Yes.
No, it isn't.
Easily.
No,
Your
That's food.
Your yearly
That is
checkup.
food.
Your yearly checkup. That's your oil change then. Does your insurance cover that?
no, and it shouldn't.
Does your health insurance cover that?
Yes.
And you just said it shouldn't.
No. I said it shouldn't cover because it shouldn't cover your gas. It shouldn't cover your oil.
But
It doesn't cover your tune-ups.
But you're saying that your health insurance
Wait,
should cover your
my
tune-ups.
health insurance does not cover my food.
It covers your
does-
tune-ups.
Does not cover me going to the gym. Does not cover me working out. Which
But it-
is all the things that you're trying to say.
But it covers
is
your
car.
tune-ups. And I'm saying if you don't have the tune-up coverage,
My tune-ups are something is wrong. That's my tune-up.
So your yearly checkup is something's wrong, or your yearly checkup is I just want to make sure nothing's wrong.
Because I only have one lung.
I have an extra one. You want it?
Yeah, thanks.
And I'm selling bodily organs.
But I'm saying that you cannot compare the two because the stuff that you put in your car, your gas and oil and all
Welcome
that
to
shit.
my show.
But you're comparing your
This is
your
what I do
checkups, which is
here.
the equivalent of a
No,
tune-up.
I'm not. You are.
Yeah, no, you actually literally
What is my checkup?
your checkup when you go once
Okay.
a year.
Do you know what my checkup is? I have to go and do blood tests every 3 months because of the medications that I take. Okay? So every 3 months I go in and have my blood test.
Okay.
And then I go to the doctor and he says, okay, hey, this looks good, or this doesn't look good, so I'm going to have to take you off of this and put you on that.
All right. If that wasn't your case, if you were just someone that's
No, bullshit. That is my case. And
I
that's
said if that was not your
Okay.
case, how much cheaper would insurance be if it was like someone like me that has like never gets sick, and I go once a year to get checked up?
Okay, so let's say that you go
If I was paying that out of pocket,
Let's
how much
say that
cheaper would
you
my
go.
insurance be?
Let's say that you go in for a checkup,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and the doctor says to you, dude, I'm afraid that you've got the beginnings of testicular cancer. But wait, no, follow me.
Don't
okay.
talk about my balls that way.
Wait. So, but you know what? We caught it early. So,
Right.
we're going to have to have you come in next weekend. We're going to do a simple procedure here in the office, okay?
So by that model-
by not getting by not going in for that checkup, 3 months from now, for some reason you're going, oh man, and you go to the doctor and he goes, hey dude, that this is gonna cost us $100,000. We're gonna have to take one of your balls out.
So by that model, I would have gone in for my checkup, paid out of pocket very cheaply, and then when, hey, we found something, and then my insurance would have covered that.
I mean, wait.
But
no,
you wouldn't have
this
gone in
is-
if you'd had to pay it out of your pocket.
Why wouldn't I?
Okay.
Because
here's
you're
a great,
greedy.
Here's a
I'm
great.
not greedy.
Yeah, you just said you'd want
I'm
to take
not
the $10
greedy.
in tax money and put it in your pocket.
Yeah, wha-
Go ahead, I'm sorry. You're
Taxation is theft. Taxation is theft. Ah! I mean, all right. So I had a mole, and it was really cute. I knew I hadn't had it
It was
forever.
like a Marilyn Monroe.
But it was right by my belly button. It was really cute. But I realized that I hadn't had it forever. But it was cute and I kind of ignored it. But I got a little worried, so I went and saw a dermatologist. I wouldn't have done that if I thought there was any possibility that it was okay.
yeah.
I went, and I mean, I did kind of think, like, maybe I just got this in the sun. I don't really go in the sun, but it's super cute. I left it alone for a while because it was really cute.
Was it cute?
But it was really cute.
All right,
But,
making sure.
but I was like, maybe it's something I should keep an eye on. I made some appointments with dermatologists and canceled and didn't go. But eventually I was like, I'll check it out. I thought it was nothing, but I went anyway because I have Medicare. It was cancer and it had spread.
If
And
it-
I had to have some pretty serious
Yeah.
surgery.
If it
They
cost you,
called me a couple of days later at like 7 o'clock in the morning from the pathology, and it was cancer, and it was bad, and it was not just the mole at that point. But I
Roger
would
alive, by
never
the way?
have gone to the dermatologist
Right.
if I had to pay to go see a
if
dermatologist.
it cost you
I-
10,
would have
20
been-
bucks ago, would you have
It
gone?
doesn't. First of all, it doesn't cost
If
that
it
much.
did,
It's pretty
because
expensive.
it
But wait,
would,
why should it
it-
cost anything? That's my point.
For little stuff?
If we do this right,
Well-
it won't cost a fucking dime more than it's already costing.
I thought it would be nothing. I had seen
Right.
dermatologists for my whole life because I glow. And I have moles. I really didn't think it was going to be anything.
I go twice a year
so,
to have
so
skin
no,
cancers cut off.
I would not.
I think we're talking over each other, to be honest.
Yeah, I know.
I absolutely would never have gone if I didn't have really good insurance.
Right.
Because I've had moles and been this white all of my life.
My moles fall off. It's weird.
I've had when I was a child and I had my parents' insurance, I had moles removed and sent to pathology and there was nothing wrong.
Because
I
it's cheaper to catch it
definitely-
at that point
Right,
than it
it
is to
is.
let it
I-
go
Absolutely.
on. And so it can't help but
So
that $5
thinking that it-
office visit ends up saving you a whole shitload
But
of
that
money. down the
$5
road.
You
office
don't
visit costs a
assume-
taxpayer hundreds of dollars.
But
That's what I'm
Now
saying.
it does.
And I'm saying, if,
Under the current system, yes, it does.
would you
Nobody-
rather pay
Cost
hundreds
that.
of dollars in taxes, or would you just rather pay $5?
I'd rather pay taxes for the things that are going to benefit us instead of.
But if-
I'm paying the fucking taxes anyway.
But if those taxes used inefficiently and ineffectively, would you rather just
They
pay
are
the
always going to be used inefficiently and ineffectively
So
until we do something about it.
And there's where I come in.
Yeah. And the other thing, and we only got a couple minutes left, but the other thing that I want to slap you upside the head about is the over the last 20 years, the number of school shootings have gone down.
They have. They're
Okay.
statistically less likely to happen than they were when I was in high school. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
When were you in high school? Last year?
90s.
90s. Okay.
They were more happening in the 90s than they are now.
Really?
Yes.
But they just didn't tell us about them. So we're just
Exactly.
hearing about them now.
It's always been a thing.
I know it
We
has.
It's
just
always been a
didn't
thing.
have a 24-hour news source that was national.
Okay.
We were seeing our local papers and local news
So,
every
this
evening
current thing
at whatever
has always
time.
been going on. We're
It's
just
always
paying
been
more
going on,
attention
and
to it.
it's actually on the down low. It's actually on the
So
decline.
is that what you're going to tell those parents? Don't worry about it.
No,
The next
no,
generation
no, absolutely
probably
not.
won't. Yeah.
No, those parents, they just lost a kid.
Yeah.
That's awful. No matter if it's on the rise or or declining, that's an awful thing.
If there's nothing
no
you can
reason
So
tell
what are you gonna do
somebody
about it?
like that.
What can you do about it? What can we do about it?
We can focus more on mental health. We can put maybe an armed officer in the schools to make sure that if this starts to happen, that bang, one dead, that's done. We're done.
But
I had that growing up.
Israel has
I
that.
grew up in Israel, and we had armed guards.
in Israel.
Yes,
Well,
I
yeah, but I mean, come on
I also
now.
had armed guards when I lived in Canada.
Right.
But that's because I went to school with the kids whose parents
Right.
owned Mall of America
Right.
and the West Edmonton Mall.
Right.
Those kids came in.
That's a classy mall.
So what you're saying is you're
Yes.
okay with anybody having 30 round mags and assault weapons and all that stuff.
Sure. Why
You're
not?
okay with that? Okay. I just checking.
I'm-
So that's why you didn't get elected.
Hey, Sisolak was in favor of that back in the day too. So
That was back in the day,
and he lied about everything he said,
and he got elected.
and he got elected.
Yeah.
He was anti-gay. He was anti-everything back in the day, and his
know he's gay, right?
His positions never changed.
No, I don't think
No,
he is.
just
He's
kidding.
he's done some things that I don't like.
He's sketchy. That's what he
I'm
is.
And
just
they
trying-
were
He's
not
sketchy
gay.
and he's a liar.
I'm just trying to get our views up. Yeah.
I'm gay enough to get the views.
Okay, yeah.
We're good.
Wait. You're gay?
Oh, that's not noticeable.
We could tell the story about where she tackled me last week. She dove off the couch and tackled me like a professional wrestler.
So what do you got on tap for next
That
week?
is so not the same.
That is what happened, though.
I was trying to pierce your ears, not molest you.
I know, but you still dove off the couch and tackled me like a.
So who are you bringing us next week?
All of them.
Cool.
Yeah.
All at once?
Sure, why not?
All right. So we
Let's have a
should,
party.
we should-
we should
bring-
start earlier.
I would like to bring Jason Weinman. So we'll
I think
see.
he's in New York right now.
Oh, rats.
I can
All right.
ask him though.
Yeah, I'll ask him after the show.
Let's
I
bring our
will-
enemy.
Wait, is he
Let's
another
bring our enemy and
libertarian?
fight him. Come on.
Is
We
he
have a
another
mutual
libertarian?
enemy.
Oh,
Let's.
Lord.
we-
No, yes, Jason Weinman is a libertarian.
Okay.
I don't know why I know so many libertarians.
Because we like you. You're nice.
I know some too. Some of
I-
my best friends are libertarians.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. I don't agree with them on anything, but
Dude.
I do love.
You want to bring it? You want to bring in
Maybe
Joe
so.
Silvestri?
That name sounds
That's
really
the
familiar.
former
but I-
chair, the chair before Brett of the Libertarian Party of Nevada.
Oh, I mean,
Before Brett.
sure.
He's actually very
Anybody
entertaining.
but Brett. Why not?
Yeah,
or
Brett's
Brett.
awful.
Brett.
Brett Pajunas, you're an awful person. And I hope you die. I'm gonna say that out loud because everyone thinks that knows him.
Okay. So if anything happens to the guy,
Everyone,
you're
we
in
will
deep
have a
shit.
parade. Everybody will have a parade.
No, thank you. Right? Yeah.
They'll be like,
Hey, we
All right,
need to
should
wrap
we
this
wrap
up.
it up?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Jared, thank you. I
Thank you for
appreciate
having
coming
me.
on.
Really.
No,
Jared
that's,
Lord, thank you for coming.
That's what we're trying to do is get these conversations going. And the nice thing about it is, like you said, you know a lot of libertarians. You don't agree with them, but it's obviously that some of them are your friends.
These
I don't know
conversations are
why,
great.
but
Well, because they're
No, no, I know.
libertarians and you can do drugs with them.
oh,
Right,
cool.
Oh,
right.
wait, no. Don't do that.
but also these conversations are important because that's the only way you're gonna find a solution is by
Exactly.
having these conversations.
Exactly.
And I like that.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to change your mind, and I don't think you're trying to change
I'm
mine
not.
because I'm too old to change now.
So am I.
Yeah.
But the people
That's
that are
not
watching
true.
might have it.
That's not true.
I'm a lot older than I look.
Okay, I would say 51.
I'm a lot younger than you think.
Okay. 42. If I looked at this picture, I'd say you're about 42.
44 in a month.
Okay. So
You're
see,
close. Good.
I know.
Good job.
So how old do you think I am?
185.
72.
I was close.
Yeah.
You're younger than my dad, so you're okay.
Okay.
I
Cool.
was going with
Hey,
185.
like I said, thanks again for coming to. Now you know why we want to call it WTF America, right? Because people watch this and think, oh, what the fuck?
And anyone watching America thinks it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
everyone apologizes when they leave the country. Like as soon as you meet people, everybody
Well,
apologizes
I'm
for us.
moving to Asia this year.
That's
Where
true.
at?
Vietnam. I'm going to go teach English.
oh no shit. Where
That,
at?
as long as we get rid
Either
of him,
Hanoi
we're
or
fine.
Ho Chi Minh City.
Oh, okay.
One or the other.
So you're going down south.
One or the other.
Yeah.
It could be
That
north or
sounds
south.
really gross. And on that note, should we sign?
Yeah. So this was a really gross show. And
I was not even
I
naked.
apologize. I didn't tell everybody up front. Dirk was not able to be here today. He will be back next week. He hopes to make bail by then. What? Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, he had some family thing. It was, who else? Oh, okay, somebody
Bail.
else.
Bail.
Somebody else is making bail. Okay. But Dirk will be back next week, and we missed you, bud. I think you would have contributed a lot to this conversation today. We'll try to keep it interesting, or we won't. And if you don't like it,
What the fuck, America?
any last words
All right. Thanks a bunch.
for this particular show? Not just, yeah.
Nostrovia.
Thanks if you watched. I'm Republican anchor baby, Bianca Valentino.
Wait.
Yeah.
You're an anchor baby?
I'm kind of an anchor baby.
No shit?
It's
What's
a
an anchor
little
baby?
iffy.
I don't even know that
That's
term.
a kid who's born here so that their parents can stay here.
I was
I'm
born
okay with
in New
those.
Hampshire.
You know, kind of like Baron Trump.
Yes. Oh, no.
All right, on that note, we got to go. Too hip. We're
All
out of
right.
here. Thanks a lot. All right, bye.
There's something happening here, but what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I've got to beware. I think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.